Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and still I rise. And I rise today because I believe my country to be at the crossroads of democracy and autocracy. The moment of decision is near. We will have to decide whether we will have a country that abides by a constitution that is meaningful or ignores the Constitution such that it becomes meaningless.
It's a pivotal moment for our democracy right now, and I thought I'd share some key news. On March 1st, 2026, a federal judge, Ahmed Meha, came down with a ruling that pretty much shattered Trump's entire legal strategy and pushed the impeachment process into high gear. The judge declared that Trump's military actions against Iran actually fall under high crimes and misdemeanors as outlined in the Constitution. This means he violated Article 1, which very clearly states that it's Congress's duty to declare war and approve military actions. Judge Maya pointed out that Trump's orders were not just baseless, but unconstitutional, and he completely rejected any attempts from the Department of Justice to block the House impeachment proceedings.
Today, in service to our duty to the Constitution and to our country, the House Committee on the Judiciary is introducing 2 articles of impeachment charging the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, with committing high crimes and misdemeanors. The first article is for abuse of power. It is an impeachable offense for the President to exercise the powers of his public office to obtain an improper personal benefit while ignoring or injuring the national interest.
Bondi's DOJ tried to stall the process indefinitely, hoping to keep evidence from being used against Trump, but the judge was firm. He said the impeachment would move forward without any delays, that the evidence could be used. And he confirmed that Trump's actions do warrant impeachment. It's truly a significant moment in our country's history where the courts are stepping in to uphold the Constitution.
The House managers put forward a compelling, indeed overwhelming case that Donald Trump engaged in impeachable conduct. He withheld both congressionally approved aid to our ally Ukraine and an Oval Office meeting desperately sought by Ukraine's new president, 2 official acts in exchange for personal favors that would benefit him politically.
The judge also made it clear that the memo about an alleged assassination threat just didn't cut it as a constitutional reason for military action either. What really caught my attention is how Judge Mehta stated that Trump's claim of having absolute war powers without any oversight from Congress was fundamentally unconstitutional. He emphasized how Trump had overstepped Congress's authority granted by Article 1, Section 8. There was also this interesting part where Judge Mehta referenced the testimony of General Kane, who had refused to carry out certain orders, which further supported the idea that those orders were illegal and unconstitutional.
Capitol Hill, U.S. Congress is about to launch a war powers debate over President Trump's authority to bomb Iran under largely unusual circumstances. He's already done it, and the country is essentially already at war. At least 4 U.S. military personnel have been killed, and President Trump warned on Sunday there will likely be more. The moment is a defining one for Congress, which alone has the authority under the U.S. Constitution to declare war.
Now, here's where things get really tense. During this ruling, Trump was sitting right there in the courtroom, and he totally lost it. Reportedly, he started yelling from the counsel table, directing his anger at the judge as the ruling was being read. He claimed that the court was rigged against him, labeling the ruling as fake and politically motivated. It was quite the scene. Trump basically had an emotional meltdown in the middle of federal court, and observers noted that his face turned bright red and he was visibly shaking with anger. Court officers even had to step in to warn him to keep calm or leave the courtroom. And to top it off, he took to Truth Social afterward to keep the drama going.
I think the case is going very well. We've asked for termination of the case. This case should be terminated. This shouldn't go anywhere. It should be terminated right now. And New York State has to build up its system again. New York State can't let this happen. Can't let this happen. There were no crimes. We did nothing wrong. And I want to get back to campaigning. I'm representing millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people.
So here's the scoop. Trump has really been going after this judge. claiming they're a fake judge who's dropping a hoax bombshell. He even suggested the judge should be impeached, which is quite the statement. He feels like the whole situation is rigged against him. And honestly, he's taking aim at not just the judge, but the entire federal court system. But here's the kicker. No matter how fired up Trump is, the judge's ruling hits hard. It basically wipes out any legal defenses he had left. The judge made it clear on the record that Trump violated the Constitution, stating that the Iran strikes were not just unconstitutional, but illegal.
Highly political judge, a totally conflicted judge, who just did something that nobody's ever seen. And the press is not happy, I don't imagine. They just got thrown out of a courthouse. Nobody's ever seen anything quite like it.
The ruling indicated there was absolutely no lawful ground for the military action. Plus, the judge has ordered that evidence be preserved and has sped up the House floor vote to the next day, cutting out any chances for delays. This means impeachment can move forward and the evidence will be in play during a potential Senate trial. That's a big deal legally, politically, and constitutionally for Trump. As it stands, the House has got 222 confirmed votes for impeachment now, which is a solid majority. That's enough to go ahead with impeachment in the House of Representatives. And guess what? 3 Republicans have started to break ranks. They've decided that Trump has overstepped and needs to be impeached, joining forces with the Democrats. This shift is linked directly to General Kha's testimony about not following illegal orders. And it's also because military leaders have clearly stated that Trump's orders were unconstitutional. These Republicans aren't shying away. They're on record saying they can't stand by Trump's actions. The timing here is critical and quite catastrophic for Trump, especially since it's all going down while everything else seems to be imploding. There's Patel's betrayal, evidence deletion happening, the subpoena scandal with Bandya falling apart, and the military unrest with General Kane testifying. On top of that, new Epstein evidence surfaces with Trump's name involved. And to top it all off, casualty counts are on the rise. It's a whirlwind of chaos right now. First off, over 70 American troops have lost their lives due to Iranian retaliation, and oil prices are skyrocketing to $170 a barrel. The economy is on the verge of collapse, and we can all see that Trump's health isn't looking great either. And as if that's not enough, a federal judge has come out and said that Trump has violated the Constitution. Everything seems to be falling apart at once, and it's all happening in front of the whole country and the world. Tomorrow is a big day because the House will vote on impeachment, and it's happening sooner than expected. Judge Mehta decided to speed things up, cutting out any delays and procedural holdups. He mentioned that the impeachment process can move forward right away and that the evidence is admissible, stating that Congress has the constitutional right to proceed without waiting. So get ready, because tomorrow Trump is going to be impeached by the House of Representatives. They'll formally send the articles of impeachment to the Senate, where a trial will take place. It's likely that Trump could end up being convicted during that Senate trial, considering a federal judge just said he has violated the Constitution. Now, let's take a closer look at what Judge Mehta ruled and why it's so important legally. He's a federal judge on the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia and was appointed by President Obama. However, he's known for being a careful and unbiased jurist who seriously considers the law without a reputation for partisanship. He's authored many opinions that are well-reasoned and solid. So, when Judge Mehta states that Trump has violated the Constitution, it carries a lot of weight, both legally and politically. This isn't merely a partisan jab from a biased judge. It's a meticulously thought-out judicial analysis from someone highly respected in the legal community. Judge Mehta thoroughly examined the facts and the law and concluded that Trump broke Article 1 of the Constitution. That's a significant declaration, and it's poised to have major implications. Plus, Judge Mehta specifically addressed and dismissed Trump's assertion of having absolute war powers as commander-in-chief. In court, Trump seemed to think he had the authority to start wars all on his own without needing permission from Congress. He argued that as both president and commander-in-chief, he could conduct military operations without any congressional approval. According to him, the War Powers Resolution didn't even apply to his actions. Trump believed that if he thought military action was necessary for national security, he could just go ahead and do it. He went as far as to assert that presidential power in matters of war is pretty much limitless and unchecked. But Judge Mehta wasn't having any of it. He thoroughly dismissed Trump's arguments and made it clear that's not how the Constitution operates. Judge Mehta pointed out that Trump's interpretation was entirely off base, highlighting that the Constitution assigns Congress the power to declare war. He specifically referenced Article 1, Section 8 on multiple occasions, emphasizing that it explicitly states Congress has that war-declaring authority. It couldn't be more straightforward. There's really no room for interpretation or debate on that. While the president is indeed the commander-in-chief of the military, that role is distinct from the power to declare war. The president can direct military actions, but only once Congress has given the green light. Judge Mehta reinforced that those are two separate powers as laid out in the Constitution. He noted that Trump had overstepped that constitutional divide by trying to seize a power solely reserved for Congress. That kind of overreach is a serious violation of the Constitution. Judge Mehta also took a stand against Trump's idea that a personal assassination plot memo could justify military action against Iran. He clarified that even if there was a supposed plot against Trump, that still wouldn't grant him the constitutional authority to go to war without Congress's involvement. Judge Mehta stated that the president's personal safety concerns cannot bypass the Constitution or override congressional authority. Ultimately, he made it very clear that no president has the power to engage in military action without proper congressional backing. Judge Mehta really laid it all out when he emphasized that no president should be able to start wars just because they feel personally threatened. He pointed out that the Constitution doesn't give that kind of power to any president. Instead, it's clear that Congress must approve military actions, no matter the personal threats to the president. The founders designed things that way to prevent any potential abuse of power. He went into detail about General Kane's testimony, which played a big role in his ruling. Judge Mehta highlighted that Kane's account showed Trump's orders were illegal and unconstitutional. Kane even refused to fully carry out those orders because he believed they went against the Constitution, which Judge Mehta used as solid evidence that those orders were indeed unconstitutional. According to him, a federal judge could reasonably conclude that Trump violated the Constitution based on Kane's testimony. It's pretty significant that Judge Mehta described that testimony as clear evidence of an overreach into congressional power, pointing to a violation of Article 1, which indicates that such actions could be classified as a high crime under the Constitution. The refusal by military leaders to fully comply also stood out as powerful evidence in his eyes. In a crucial move, Judge Mehta dismissed the Department of Justice's attempts to block the impeachment proceedings. The DOJ contended that the court should stay out of impeachment matters since it's a political process. They also argued that impeachment lies within Congress's powers and that Trump's actions fell under executive privilege or war powers doctrine. But Judge Mehta wasn't having any of it. He directly countered all their arguments, asserting that the courts do have jurisdiction here. It's pretty straightforward. The Constitution clearly gives Congress authority over war powers, and Judge Mehta pointed out that Trump overstepped that boundary. Because of this, he ruled that the impeachment can move forward with admissible evidence. He made it clear that executive privilege doesn't shield anyone when it comes to violating the Constitution. Judge Mehta even ordered a broad preservation of evidence related to the Iran strikes, the assassination plot memo, Kane's testimony, server logs showing Patel deleting files, and the Epstein documents. All of it needs to be saved. Judge Mehta is making it clear that there's no way any evidence can go missing. No documents can be deleted, and everything needs to be on the table for a Senate trial. If anyone tries to destroy evidence, that's not just frowned upon. That's contempt of court. And there are real consequences for that. So essentially, Judge Mehta is ensuring that Trump can't cover anything up, keeping everything in the light so the Senate trial can have all the necessary evidence. This is all about protecting the integrity of the whole process. Now, shifting gears to Judge Mehta, they move the House floor vote to tomorrow. Talk about fast-tracking things. Judge Mehta decided there's no reason to hold things up or make any procedural objections because according to the Constitution, Congress has the right to move forward with impeachment without any delays. So instead of waiting weeks, members of the House will cast their votes on impeachment tomorrow. It looks like tomorrow could be the day when Trump gets impeached. Judge Mehta basically endorsed this whole process, saying that it's both allowed and proper and made it clear that the courts won't step in to interfere. So, front and center is Judge Mehta's ruling. which really changes the game for Trump's legal standing. Trump's lawyers were pushing the line that he had absolute war powers and could act without Congress. But the federal judge just shut that down. The judge made it clear that's not what the Constitution indicates, stating that Trump has violated Article 1 and overstepped Congress's authority. This is a significant statement, labeling his actions as impeachable. For the impeachment vote, this ruling has a massive impact because now House members know that there's a federal judge who agrees Trump has broken the Constitution. They can vote for impeachment with the backing of judicial authority, knowing they're on firm ground. It's really a big deal that now there's judicial backing for the impeachment, which gives House members a little extra confidence when they head to vote. Knowing that a federal judge has ruled that Trump violated the Constitution means it's much easier for them to support impeachment. They can't really justify going against impeachment when someone from the judicial system has clearly said there was a violation. And when it comes to the Senate and the potential for conviction, this is a game share. Senators now have that same assurance. If they decide to convict Trump, a federal judge's ruling supports them legally. It's clear that the judge agrees Trump violated Article 1. So now those senators feel less hesitant about voting for a conviction, knowing they have legal backing. This could sway a few of those who were previously undecided, especially those Republican senators who might have been anxious about potential backlash or were searching for some legal justification for their vote. There's also this crucial evidence preservation order in place, which essentially means Trump can't just destroy evidence or hide any documents anymore. Everything will need to be preserved for a potential Senate trial. This is super important because it guarantees that nothing will be lost or covered up, allowing the Senate to get a complete view of everything that went down. It also stops Trump from claiming evidence was somehow destroyed or misplaced. And speaking of Trump, his outburst in the courtroom doesn't do him any favors, either politically or legally. It shows him losing his composure, disrespecting a federal judge, and treating the judicial process with a total lack of respect. This definitely isn't going to help him, especially in the eyes of senators who will be considering not just the facts, but also how he handles himself as they judge whether he respects the Constitution. Tomorrow is a big day as the House is gearing up to officially impeach Trump with 222 votes lined up against him. They only need a simple majority, which is 218 votes. So it's a done deal. The articles of impeachment are set to pass, and he will be formally charged with high crimes and misdemeanors. After that, it heads straight to the Senate for trial, which will likely kick off just days or weeks after the House vote. Now, as we watch all this unfold, there's a lot to consider about Trump's actions leading up to this moment. His recent remarks about the judge calling her fake and saying her ruling is a hoax aren't exactly endearing him to the senators who are on the fence about whether to support him. Those senators are likely grappling with the idea of whether they want to align themselves with a president who openly attacks federal judges. It definitely raises eyebrows when he implies that the judge should be impeached, which really shows a lack of respect for the judicial system and the Constitution itself. With his credibility already in shambles, this kind of behavior isn't doing him any favors. Senators are observing how he conducts himself, and it's probably making them question his respect for the Constitution. Plus, the fact that 3 Republicans have already broken ranks to vote for impeachment is significant. It underscores that even within his party, some are willing to step away from Trump despite his popularity among the base. When the Senate trial begins, they'll be hearing evidence, witnesses, and arguments from both sides. And with the additional weight of Judge Meth's ruling, General Kane's testimony about illegal orders, and Patel's insight on deleted evidence, along with the serious concerns about troop losses and a crashing economy, it seems like the senators might lean towards convicting him. All these factors combined could lead to a significant turning point in his presidency. Trump's presidency is really looking shaky right now, and the situation has gotten so serious that even his most loyal supporters are thinking about voting against him. This is a big deal because it could mean that more Republicans might jump ship. Right now, there are 17 GOP senators who are hinting they might support a conviction. To put that in perspective, it takes a 2/3 majority in the Senate, which is 67 votes, to actually convict someone. So,